Guys, you won't believe what just surfaced. While the entire football world focuses on Sunday's matchup between the Raiders and the Browns, something far more dangerous is unfolding behind closed doors in Las Vegas. Something that threatens to repeat the exact same catastrophic mistake that destroyed this franchise's future just one season ago. And the craziest part? I've got information from inside that building, details that paint a picture so concerning it could define the next 5 years of Raiders football. If what I'm hearing is true, we're watching history repeat itself in the most painful way possible. But before I reveal why this Week 12 game against Cleveland might be the most important turning point of the entire season, and how the disconnect between Pete Carroll and the front office could doom this rebuild, what's up, Raider Nation? Welcome to the NFL Playbook Raiders. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This channel is all about breaking down everything you need to know about the Raiders. So while the Raiders prepare to face the Cleveland Browns this Sunday, the atmosphere inside the facility feels almost suffocating. A season that started with cautious optimism, with the hiring of a legendary coach, with the second most salary cap space in the entire NFL, with 11 draft picks to rebuild this roster, now sits at 2-8, with the playoffs mathematically eliminated and the future looking darker than anyone imagined. The standings tell one story, a grim and undeniable one, but the emotional and organizational weight of what's happening right now tells something far heavier, far more dangerous. It's not just about winning or losing a football game against a rookie quarterback, it's about a fundamental philosophical divide that's tearing this organization apart from the inside. And it's the kind of divide that destroys franchises for years. Because here's what nobody's talking about enough. ESPN NFL insiders Jeremy Fowler and Dan Graziano just dropped a report that sent shockwaves through the entire Raider Nation. In their Week 12 buzz and rumors breakdown, they specifically called out Pete Carroll as having a better chance of getting fired than first-year head coach Aaron Glenn. Think about that for a second. At the beginning of this season, the thought of Pete Carroll being one and done in Las Vegas was impossible. I was told by multiple good sources, some of you would say the best sources possible, that Pete Carroll was not getting fired this season no matter what happened. But you already know, where there's smoke, there's fire. And there's starting to be a lot of smoke around Carroll being one and done in Las Vegas. Jeremy Fowler laid it out perfectly when he said that Carroll is a name to monitor because the Raiders are clearly in rebuilding mode from a roster talent standpoint, but at 74 years old, Pete is in it to win now, and to prove that he's still capable of turning around an organization. And here's the killer line. Those plans aren't meshing. This isn't speculation anymore, guys. This is national NFL insiders reporting what those of us who watch this team every single day have been screaming about for weeks. The front office wants to build for the future. They gave John Spytek a 5-year deal. They're committed to a long-term vision. But Pete Carroll is coaching like he's got 1 year left to win a Super Bowl. And those two philosophies cannot coexist in the same building without everything falling apart. And this brings us directly to the most uncomfortable truth that Raider Nation needs to face right now. Pete Carroll's blind loyalty to Geno Smith is absolutely disgusting at this point. If Pete's going to stand at that podium after another embarrassing loss and say that Geno Smith is doing a phenomenal job, then we're not living in the same reality. But here's where it gets even more complicated, even more dangerous for the future of this franchise. I received a text message earlier this week from someone inside that Raiders organization, someone with legitimate knowledge of what's happening behind closed doors. And what I was told is that there is legitimate front office disconnect right now. No rumors, not speculation, legitimate frustration from the executives and the front office staff about the way Pete Carroll is running this team. When you have a front office that's been given 5-year deals, that's building for a sustainable future, and you have a 74-year-old head coach who's coaching like he needs to win right now at all costs, those worlds are going to collide. And from what I'm hearing, that collision is happening right now, this week, in that building.
Now let me connect all of these dots for you, because this is where everything becomes crystal clear and absolutely terrifying at the same time. The Raiders are 2-8 right now. Look at the remaining schedule. You've got the Browns with the rookie quarterback on Sunday, then the Chargers, then the Broncos, then the Eagles, the Texans, the Giants, the Chiefs. I don't know when we're going to run into a win. Maybe, and I mean maybe, you can steal 1 or 2 games, but realistically, this team is staring down a 4-win season. Maybe 5 wins if everything breaks right. And here's the absolute nightmare scenario that should keep every single Raiders fan awake at night. We've seen this movie before. Last season, Antonio Pierce came in and said he doesn't care about draft picks, he only plays to win. And you know what happened? The Raiders won their last 2 games of the season. Everybody felt good for about 48 hours, and then reality hit when we realized those 2 meaningless victories dropped us from a top 3 pick to the 6th overall pick. We missed out on Will Campbell. We missed out on the elite offensive tackle prospects. We missed out on game-changing defensive players. All because of 2 wins that meant absolutely nothing except making everyone feel temporarily better about a lost season. And now, right now, in November 2025, we're watching the exact same story start to unfold again. Pete Carroll is coaching to win every single game because that's what he does. That's who he is. That's his legacy and his pride. But the front office, the people who actually have to build this roster for the next 5 years, they understand that in a 2-8 season with no playoff hopes, every single loss potentially moves you up in the draft order. Every loss gets you closer to a franchise-altering player. Every loss in a lost season is actually an investment in the future. But Pete can't coach that way. He won't coach that way. And that's why this philosophical divide is so dangerous, so corrosive, so potentially destructive to everything the Raiders are trying to build. Because imagine this scenario, and tell me it doesn't sound exactly like what's about to happen. The Raiders go out and win 3 or 4 of these remaining games. Pete Carroll feels vindicated. Geno Smith stays as the quarterback, the coaching staff returns, and the Raiders end up with the 8th or 9th or 10th overall pick instead of a top 3 pick. No shot at a franchise quarterback, no shot at an elite left tackle, no shot at the kind of transformational talent that changes the entire trajectory of your organization. Instead, we get another year of Pete Carroll football, another year of Geno Smith at quarterback, another year of Chip Kelly's predictable offense, and another year of this fan base suffering through mediocrity. And here's the part that makes my blood boil, guys. Pete Carroll got everything he asked for this offseason. 11 draft picks, the second most salary cap space in the entire NFL, complete control over the roster. He got to bring in Geno Smith. He got to hire Chip Kelly as the highest paid offensive coordinator in football. He got to install his son, Brendan Carroll, as the offensive line coach. He got every single thing he wanted, and this is the result. 2-8. An offense that can't protect the quarterback or run the football, a team that looks unprepared, undisciplined, and completely lost on a weekly basis. How can you give someone that much power, that much resources, that perfect of a scenario, and then trust them to run it back again next year? The answer is you can't. And that's why I genuinely believe Pete Carroll is going to be one and done in Las Vegas. Not just because the record is bad, not just because the offense is unwatchable, but because the front office disconnect is real, it's growing, and it's unsustainable. When I ask people about Pete's job security, I don't get answers. I get dodges. I get silence. And that tells me everything I need to know. When organizations start protecting certain people and avoiding arrests about others, you know where the fault lines are forming. So what is the answer? I honestly don't know anymore, guys. I'm treating the rest of the season like it's the offseason because that's the only way to stay sane. I'm going to be a hopeful Raiders fan. I'm going to wake up every day and talk about the things I want to see happen. And right now, what I want more than anything is for Pete Carroll to be one and done. I want him gone. I want Geno gone with him. I want Chip Kelly gone. I want Brendan Carroll gone. I want every single piece of this failed experiment removed so that the front office can finally build this team the right way with a coach who believes in the rebuild, who wants to develop young talent, who will actually draft a franchise quarterback when given the chance.